Welcome to my views and some new stories for you. Firstly, viewers, new global financial pact summit is being held in France. World leadership is there from Africa. Several leaders are there. PM Abiy is there. South African president is in France. Kenyan president is also there. William Ruto. Musa Faki is there too from Africa Union. Was Prime Minister of Ethiopia ignored and snubbed by other African leaders? Some videos are being shared. A video was sent to me as well by a viewer showing PM Abiy's interaction with South African President and Musa Faki, Africa Union's chairperson. I have this video and my views about it. Secondly, how impressive was the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, PM Abiy in France? He spoke there, like other world leaders too. I have two videos comparing PM Abiy's speech there and William Ruto, Kenyan president's talk there. Kenyan president was definitely very impressive. He came up with some new ideas. He challenged other Western powers. He criticized IMF, World Bank. PM Abiy was very restrained. Thirdly, PM Abiy there was seen with a female Ethiopian entrepreneur who came under state action, whose business projects were closed in Ethiopia in November 2021. And she is seen as critical of some groups based in the Amhara region too. Dr. Eleni GebreKidan. I remember in November 2021, I did some videos when Eleni GebreKidan's Blue Moon project offices were closed in Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital. I have a clip for you of Eleni GebreKidan. What did she say around 2 years ago, around 1.5 years ago about Amhara and nationalists? Fourthly, viewers, a well-known Ethiopian painter has died. He went to Oromia and now his death is being confirmed in mysterious circumstances. Lastly, Sudan, viewers, rapid support force members have carried out an attack on Chadian military on Chad, Sudan, Central African Republic border. Firstly, viewers, new global financial pact summit is being held in France. Entire world leadership is there from Africa. PM Abiy is attending the summit. Kenyan president is there. African leaders are interacting there. And several PM Abiy's critics are claiming that PM Abiy was ignored, snubbed by African leaders. I have a clip for you showing PM Abiy's interaction with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and Africa Union's Musa Faki. PM Abiy greets Cyril Ramaphosa. They're exchanging greetings. Then Africa Union's Musa Faki arrives. Based on this video, it is being claimed that the Prime Minister of Ethiopia was snubbed by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. Though I could not reach this conclusion that the Prime Minister of Ethiopia was snubbed by a South African president. I leave it to you to decide. This video is being shared as a piece of evidence that PM Abiy was snubbed and ignored by South African president in France. Have a look at this clip.
How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you here. Once you are here, Africa is
Very true. Very true.
Africa is here.
You is my brother.
Secondly, viewers, two comparative clips for you. PM Abiy spoke there in France. William Ruto, Kenyan president, delivered a speech too. William Ruto proposed some new financial arrangements on global level. He criticized IMF World Bank. He said that Africa had no role in decision making in IMF World Bank. That is why world's financial system should be amended. There should be new platforms established, though, and all countries should contribute to raising a fund, and all countries should be involved in decision making, because IMF, World Bank are definitely controlled by Western countries and US. French president replied, and he said that existing institutions like IMF and World Bank can be improved too. Decision making could be made more inclusive. PM Abiy, on the other hand, spoke, and he did not share anything new. He just said that countries should walk their talk, they should honor their commitments. He didn't propose anything significant. He was just saying, I think, that those who committed support to Ethiopia should honor their commitments. Like we know that US, EU, they committed support for Ethiopian economy before Pretoria deal, and after Pretoria deal as well. But that support has not come so far. Bailout package has not come for Ethiopia. So maybe he had his own grievances, Ethiopian grievances, to share at the conference. He did not share anything valuable, but Kenyan president was impressive. Two comparative clips for you. First one shows PM Abiy. Second one shows William Ruto, Kenyan president. Take a listen to what the two said.
We should make reform on these financial institutions. We should make reform. We should make reform on these financial institutions, at least in the following areas. Firstly, implement past plays. We have to walk the talk. There are lots of plays here and there, but delivery is not as the promises. So we should keep past plays in climate financing, SDR, also on injecting additional capitals for financial agencies so as to provide enough amount of resources for low-income countries. Secondly, boost concessional financing and grant. Without getting enough amount of concessional financing and grant, today's interconnected challenges is not addressed in a way that we're doing business today. Thirdly,
France has been phenomenal. When it comes to SDR, they were right at the front, and we appreciate that. What we are saying is different. It's not what you're saying. You're saying is good, but it's not what you're saying. We are not saying that we continue to have what the taxes France is paying, the taxes Kenya is paying in the current setup. Those are national issues. We need a financial transaction tax at a global level where even countries like Kenya pay. We do not want anything for free. You will pay more eventually because you have a bigger economy. We will pay commensurate to our economy. And we want those resources controlled not by IMF and World Bank. Because IMF and World Bank, you have the final say. We don't have no say. We want another organization of equals, where you have as much say because you pay, as much as we do because we also pay. That's the organization we are looking for. And that is why we are saying we need a new financial architecture, where governance, where power is not on the hands of a few people. We can agree on the governance of the institution. We can agree on the sharing of power so that all of us have access to resources.
Thirdly, viewers, it was November 2021 when a virtual meeting's recording was leaked. The meeting was held with participation of some Ethiopian intellectuals, entrepreneurs. It was arranged by Professor Ephraim Isaac, head of Peace and Development Center, PDC, an NGO. Dr. Eleni GebreKidan, an entrepreneur, also attended the virtual meeting. Back then, if you remember, Tigray forces were in Amhara far regions threatening to reach Addis Ababa. They were saying that there was no one between them and Addis Ababa. They were calling for a transitional government, for establishment of transitional government. They were saying that there was no one to talk to, and they can easily reach Addis Ababa. Things changed. Modern drones came, and Tigray forces started suffering losses, and their call for transitional government was nowhere to be seen then, because they were forced to withdraw from North Shore zone of the Amhara region. They were hoping to reach Ethiopia-Djibouti road, but then they were pushed back towards Mekelle. Back then, in November 2021, in that virtual meeting, someone spoke about need for discussions about transitional government, that people should discuss what will happen in case of transitional government. Eleni spoke about transitional government too. Contents of that virtual meeting were leaked. Eleni and Professor Ephraim came under fire. Peace and Development Center was banned in Ethiopia. Eleni's Blue Moon project offices were raided, and both were accused of supporting TPLF. But the same Dr. Eleni GebreKidan was seen with PM Abiy yesterday. When PM Abiy arrived in France to attend the summit, Eleni was there. And if you remember, in that meeting, Eleni, I think, spoke about Amhara ultra-nationalists as well. There should be some action, some policy about how to handle Amhara ultra-nationalism. But the same Eleni was seen on good terms with PM Abiy Ahmed while she was seen with him in France yesterday. I have an old clip of Dr. Eleni for you. It is from 2021 when she spoke about Amhara ultra-nationalism. Watch the clip.
Almost frightening to me how quickly the unitarist perspective took hold. And although you described it as an ultra-nationalist Amhara base, it exists nonetheless. And we have to do something about it. And I have in my own family those who you might describe in that way. So the question is, how do we come back together? Because otherwise there is a real fear that we cannot continue as a country.
Fourthly, viewers, an Ethiopian painter has been found dead in mysterious circumstances. Mulugeta GebreKidan is the name of the renowned painter, renowned in Ethiopia, outside Ethiopia too. His death is being confirmed in Oromia. Reportedly, he traveled to Adama, Oromia. He was arrested there, and today it was reported by some sources that Mulugeta had died. How did he die? Was he tortured? Did he die in detention? No one knows, but his arrest is being confirmed. And people, groups in the Amhara region are now criticizing Oromia, region-based groups, Oromia Prosperity Party. It is turning into an ethnic issue. Oromia government is silent. Government must clarify what is the cause of death of Mulugeta. Was he arrested? Did he die in custody? Did he die a natural death? No details shared by the government so far. But several sources, especially from the Amhara region, are confirming his death. Lastly, viewers, Sudan Rapid Support Forces have carried out an attack on Chadian military on Sudan, Chad, Central African Republic border. Near this tri-border, Rapid Support Forces attacked an outpost of Chadian military. Chadian military has been supporting Sudanese army in Darfur. We know that some Chadian soldiers were killed in Chad, in Darfur, when the Chadian soldier was fighting in support of Sudanese army against Rapid Support Force members, but Sudanese army suffered setbacks in Darfur. Rapid Support Forces ravaged across Darfur. Chadian soldiers were injured and killed too. They were taken to Adre town, which is on Chad side of Chad Sudan border. And after that, we saw that Rapid Support Force members carried out an attack on this Chadian border post on Chad Sudan border. RSF is not receiving any support from Chad. Now it is clear. But this attack shows that now two Sudanese borders are under RSF control. Border with Chad, border with Central African Republic. Most sources say that the support being received by RSF from some African countries is coming from Central African Republic. Chad RSF relations is seriously deteriorating. A few days ago, Hamati issued a statement praising Chadian government for supporting Sudanese people. But on the ground, we're seeing tensions between Rapid Support Forces and Chadian military. Chad is hosting more than 150,000 Sudanese refugees who have fled the fighting in Darfur, and people say the road between Al Janina and Chad still has dozens of dead bodies lying on the road. Even those who are trying to flee Darfur towards Chad are being attacked. Convoys of refugees are being attacked. Why? Ethnic violence. Non-Arabs are being attacked. Yesterday, Vicky Ford, Member of Parliament from the UK, said that girls over 13 were being raped, boys over 10, 11 were being killed in Darfur, ethnic cleansing being committed in Darfur. If this Chad RSF fighting continues, it could lead to spreading of this conflict into neighboring countries too. Thank you for watching.